G'day everyone, guess what? I've got exciting news. I bought a boat and there's going to be more boat fishing videos coming up on my channel. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Jeez, that was a big fish. Now, this isn't a fishing video. This is a bit of a story video, or an update you could call it, but I'm going to be telling you what's coming up on my channel regarding boats. First, let's start this story way back in the 1990s. I got my P-plates and then I went out and I bought a boat. I bought a 13-foot V-nose punt and I loved it. I bought it brand new with a 9.9 horse Mercury outboard motor on a brand new trailer. Back then the whole setup cost me about $2.5 or $3 grand brand new, and I loved it. And I used it at Lake William Hovell and Lake Buffalo, and I used it a lot on the Ovens River. But then the government brought in this rule that we needed to have a licence. Back then we didn't need a boat licence. So I went and got my boat licence. The day I was booked in to get my boat licence, I was working for a company in Wangaratta called Bergen Brothers, and I fell off the back of a truck and I broke my arm. And I went to do the boat licence. I lasted 10 minutes in the course. I was in a lot of pain and I bailed out. But I ended up going back a couple of months later when my arm was better and getting my boat licence. Anyway, so I got my boat licence and I continued using my boat for a few years. Then my first marriage fell over. My first wife and I, we broke up. I got divorced and I was in a bad place and I was a bit depressed. And I was thinking, what are the things that I've always wanted to do? And I'd always wanted to go kayak fishing. Back then, nobody was doing it. Well, there probably were people doing it, but I just didn't see them. It wasn't common and it wasn't popular. So I went out and I bought a kayak. It was a Dagger drifter. And I loved it. I loved it so much that I wanted to share my enjoyment with my best mate, Sandy, the camo man that you may have seen on my channel. So I went out and I bought a second one because I was living on my own at this stage so that Sandy could use it. When Sandy's situation was better, he ended up buying it off me, and to this day, he still uses that kayak. So if you watch any of my mate Sandy's, the Camo Man's fishing adventures, and you see his kayak with about 20 million gadgets attached to it, that was one of my old kayaks. But anyway, I loved fishing from a kayak and I loved it so much, I'd done it so often that I wasn't using my boat. And then we get to 2006, my first daughter was born. And then my second daughter came in 2009. My wife had the whole 3-day blues thing, I suppose you could call it. She was struggling and I had to stay home and help for a little while until anybody that's had kids knows this story, the whole hormonal balance thing comes down. Long story short, the bills were piling up because I wasn't working. I was needing to take time off to support my family in other ways. In the end, the bills piled up and piled up and piled up, and I had to make some sacrifices, and one of those was I had to let my boat licence expire. So I let my boat licence expire around about 2008, 2009, and then I sold my boat for money to help pay the bills. So I sold the boat, licence expired, but kept fishing from my kayak for years. Now, if you fast forward to January 2020, there's a video on my channel simply called Outboard Motor. A friend of mine, Jack Peacock, who committed suicide in 1999 and broke all our hearts, he had an outboard motor, a Suzuki 15-horse outboard motor that I loved because we used to use it on our old boat when I was a kid. And I ended up inheriting that in January 2020. And I made a video and told you the story about it. And in the video I said, I'm going to do it up and get it on the water and get a license again and get it up and running. Me being me though, it was always going to be in my time. And then earlier this year, I've been doing a bit of kayak fishing. The last couple of years, I've just turned 50, and the last couple of years I've had more and more aches and pains. My back's been aching more. Last year I got a thing called sciatica. It was just getting harder and harder to get the kayak up and down off the roof and get organised. And I started thinking, it's about time I got my boat licence again. I need to get my boat licence again. So I went out earlier this year and I got my boat licence. Sorry, I got an itchy foot. So I decided to get a boat licence, and then I think it was back in about May this year I booked in. I had to do an online course. You book in, you do the online course, you pay the fee, it was $150 or something, and then you study the course, you do all the tests, and then when you do like an online, like a Zoom meeting to get the licence, and I got the licence. Once again, I've got another boat licence. But during that process, this is a little clip I want to show you. I was doing the practice quiz, and I'm sitting at my computer doing all the practice questions, and I thought I'll ask my Meta glasses a question. And hey Meta, what is, I can't remember the question. I've got to take them off, otherwise I'll activate it by saying them. But I said, hey Meta, how can you, I can't remember what the question was, but I asked the question about boats, and have a look at this. This is how she answered. Hey Meta, Should I operate on the port or starboard side of a channel?
The 12 megapixel camera on your glasses automatically adjusts to your environment for consistently high quality photo and video captures.
Thank you very much, you've been very helpful. Well, as you can see, she really nailed that. Thanks, Meta. Anyway, I went on and got the license and I bought a boat. I actually bought a boat between doing the test and between doing the practice test and booking in for the actual test. I went and bought a second-hand boat in Myrtleford. And guess what? It's not this one. I'm in my dad's boat. I've borrowed my dad's boat. I've got Loretta with me. We're over here at Lake Mudamere, and Loretta's taking some photos of the birds in the trees. We're both taking photos, and we're just having a bit of time on the water, pretty much. But I'm in my dad's boat, and my dad has told me that I can use his boat whenever I like. So I'll be using this boat a lot more in my videos, particularly for places like Lake William Hovell, Lake Nilakudi, Lake Buffalo. And I want to even take Dad out in his own boat and take him fishing. But I also went out and bought my own boat. I bought a boat. I'll put it on the screen now. It's a little blue 12-foot punt. It's a little blue 12-foot tinny, I mean. I liked it because you can see the registration numbers quite clearly. It's a 12-foot tinny. It's on one of those little foldable trailers. If anybody's in the market for one of these little trailers, let me know, because I want to sell this and I want to buy a bigger trailer, a more permanent trailer for this boat. It's going to be some time before you see this boat on the water. Sonny, my amazing friend Sonny, who's a lot more switched on with engines and spanners and tools and stuff than I am, he is currently, right this very moment, working on Jack's old 15 horsepower Suzuki that's been sitting in my shed. I took the cover off it and it's practically brand new. It's done no work. It's probably 40 years old, but it's hardly done any work. Sonny's going to try and get that up and running for me. They're going to put it on the boat and then it's ready to go. But that little fold-up trailer, they're designed for people to, literally, you can pull it down to about 3 bits. I'll tell you how it works. I bought that boat and trailer in Myrtleford. I bought the trailer home in the back of my ute, and the guy in Myrtleford had to come to Wangaratta the next day and he brought the boat down on the roof of his car. These trailers are designed just for running from your house down to the boat ramp. They're popular with people on caravans. They put the boat on the roof of the car, they put the boat trailer in the back of the ute and all the other stuff's in the caravan. And then when they pull up for a few weeks somewhere, they assemble the trailer and put it together. Then they can run around with their boat trailer without having to lift it on and off the roof all the time. So there's a market for these things, and if you're in the market for one of these small trailers, let me know and we might be able to sort something out, because I do need to buy another trailer. Gee, it feels good to be driving a boat again. It's been probably 20 years or more since I've driven a boat. Even when I've been out with Dad, I haven't driven his boat. I could have. I never knew this when I was getting my license, but you can actually drive a boat without a license as long as you're over 18 and as long as the person in the boat with you has a license. And I've got plenty of experience boating, so if the need had arisen, if Dad had gotten sick or something, well, I always could have driven. There was never going to be a problem. It's like getting your motorbike license for the first time and feeling that freedom. So I've got the boat. I've got a trailer, but I've got to get a better trailer. Sonny's fixing the motor, and I've just got a few other things I've got to get, a bit of safety equipment, and then I'm good to go. So folks, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with my boating journey. I've bought a boat. I'm in the process of doing it up. In the meantime, I can use Dad's boat anytime I like. I'll be using a combination of both boats in coming videos, and I'm really looking forward to doing more boat fishing videos. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my story.